What's good, superstars? Back with another Veve video. You got Superstar Joe. You got Superstar Rob. You got Superstar Bones NFT in the building. How's it going?
Oh no! I'm not prepared for this one.
It's not live, Bones. So
True. Oh, whoa.
We can make you look better in post. All right, we can make it look better in
good.
post. Guys, if you're new here, do not forget, become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification so you know whenever we post some Veve content for your faces. You can also become a superstar VIP, $2.99 a month. Hit the join button under the video. Get one of those stars next to your name. In June, we're going to have some super duper rare stars. People are going to be flexing like crazy with their gold stars. It just started pouring rain, distracting me right now on the window. But and also so much more. You can go follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. So much is happening. I mean, the crypto chat's been blowing up over there. The Veve chat's been blowing up over there. The Disney Pinnacle chat's been blowing up over there. All these projects are starting to put in lots of work, big IPs, lots of different aspects coming to these projects, lots to talk about. So if you want to continue the conversation, if this video is not long enough for you, if the intro is not long enough for you, you can go over there and all our videos are all linked there and all that stuff. You can go check it out. But definitely go over to the Discord. Guys, how's it going?
Good. I think it was a crazy time right now in the space. There's so much news going on. Bones, thanks for joining us again. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me again. Do you know what? You cut this intro down a lot because the intro used to be a couple minutes, right? So it already is cut down. So I like the intro. You know, I like the news. I don't know if I'm the popular opinion, right? But yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
We used to have a 5 minute, though, wasn't it? 5 minutes at one point?
Literally, it used to be like 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
We love to talk about the news, you know, update it. It's just like you get your coffee going. Sometimes people like they're not paying attention the first little bit of the video, and then you sink into it at the end, right? So that's kind of what our vibe was. But we also listen to feedback sometimes, and some people like it, some people don't. So now we're mixing it up to kind of satisfy both. In this video today, though, we're not going to be doing the news. We're going to be going straight into it because I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking points on this topic here. Does Veve have to change the way that they're doing everything now because Blackpink maybe didn't sell so hot the way that they expected? A lot of people in the community were expecting a bigger sell, a lot more onboarding of fans. They did a huge marketing campaign here. They went on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Instagram. They were gaining followers like crazy on Instagram and YouTube, we heard. How come it didn't translate over to the app? Do you guys have any opinions on that first, maybe before we get into the topic of do they need to change anything?
Bones, you first.
Well, the active wallets, right, didn't show that there was, you know, the big users coming in. As we know, the space is still new. NFTs, you know, people outside the space, they still think they're scams. You know, we still haven't broke through that barrier. So in my opinion, I think that it wasn't going to really affect much. We weren't going to get many users. Now, we're on the right direction, right? This is exactly what we want to see. We want to see high-profile people getting into NFTs, but I still think it's not the right time for it. But that is to say, like, let's start seeing more and more people do it so we can get more people onboarded. But it's just not the right time for it. And people, when they hear NFTs, they think of scams. They think of Bored Apes. That's all they think about is Bored Apes and scams. So, you know, and again, right now, I think in this space, you guys say it, I agree with it. It's all about utility. And I just don't think right now that having a collectible, only a collectible that you can view, it's cool. The quality is good, but I feel like it has to be more. I'm a gamer and gaming is something that I want to do. Even without NFTs, I game anyways, but with NFTs and Web3, it really makes it so appealing to me. So there has to be utility.
Yeah, so I'm gonna jump in here. So obviously, my opinion it's been the same for years now. You're not going to bring in new users if you're going to just offer a collectible with no utility. Now, I'll be honest. Why hasn't Veve started, for example, just doing every single collectible, make it walkable, you know, make it jump, make it dance? Why does it always have to be in statue format? Like, even something like that might make it a little bit more attractive when you finally get the Vision Pro and you can start doing these things. But for new users, we're in this space. We're used to this stuff. We respect this stuff. A lot of true collectors are in this space. They don't care. They just want to collect because of the historic place and about maybe that FA NFT in the timeline, right? But like, I think you're not bringing in new users like that. I think new users just need to know what can they do with these NFTs. Okay, great. You're selling me a Blackpink NFT. I'm a huge Blackpink fan. What can I do with it? I can project an AR. That's cool. 60 $60 to project it in AR. Why? I'm going to stay out for an app that I'm going to use for one day and never touch it again. So I think that for conversion of new users, our opinion has been the same. Our opinion hasn't changed. Absolutely, Veve does have to change, and they would have to bring a new utility. But that has never been what Veve has wanted to do. And I think that we're gonna break that down. We can go into what I got open here on my screen right now, Joe.
And you know what? I want to mention one thing too, is that you know, again, this is a tough space. And the thing is, though, is that in between, we all have to stick together. We all have to be united. And when new people come into the space and they go into X and they see people squabbling and fighting with each other, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. This doesn't project the space in the right direction. And this is what we're seeing, right? So yeah.
I think there's even more to that. I think when people come into the space and they're trying to learn about a project and they have no idea where it's going, what is the roadmap? What is this going to do? Like to Rob's point, if they were animated and they were able to do something down the line and be gamified, even if there was like a stashing or like a type of way to put these things somewhere to use, and that was at least down the road, you know that was going to happen, more than just this type of a thing, like something that people could look forward to with expectation. Veve versus, sure, we already have Veve versus Lite with the showroom, so I mean they have that, they could already test that out and play that type of game right now. But if there is like a roadmap and these new people come in, they're like, oh, what's this Veve? Oh, they're going to be doing this in a little bit. Oh, this is their plan. This is what they're going to do first. This is how they're going to get there. There's an actual roadmap. People understand what's coming. I think that would have been really helpful. Also, I think what they did at the end here, day before the drop or whatever, and they started to announce that if you post your stuff in AR, you have a chance at one of these physical sign things. I mean, this IP, as far as I understand, has been in the works for 2 years. I mean, in that time, there's sufficient ample time to be researching, doing marketing research on these groups of people who are into this type of stuff and seeing what exactly they want, what makes them tick. How are you going to convince them that they need this? And I feel like they didn't do that until they watched Superstar Money's video saying, bring in some exclusive merch. And then they did it the next day, right? So that's what I feel like. At least that's how it looks on paper, right? But regardless, I think that with that timeline and with that lead up, especially if that is the true case, 2 years, there has to be more research done in terms of marketing. And I understand they've done marketing push now and more recently, and maybe they didn't have the resources early on to do that. But I mean, with something this big of a fandom, I mean, you put out a video about a Blackpink review, you're getting like tens of thousands of views. It's like you can be a brand new channel. It doesn't matter. That's how insanely addicted to their fandom they are. So the fact that they weren't interested in this and you couldn't convince them that there was anything to bring them into this, kind of concerning. But I mean, at the same time, this is what we know we get with Veve. They want to be a collector's app. They want their collectibles to be statues, that they're going to do that. And you can look at them in AR, and that is their thing. And we all knew that going into this drop.
Let's bring it up here now, guys. Veve Gaslight comes in and says, when drops don't sell out instantly and go below retail, should we call it a failure? And we know from this account, it's a highly biased group of followers that follow him, a very highly biased group of followers. If you look at his polls tend to represent mainly the hardcore within the Veve community. And you can see the majority of people said no, they completely bought into the collectors at heart. You see it all the time. You see people on Twitter all the time saying, I just want to buy it because I like it. All right. They're not going for price appreciation. So they shouldn't care if they buy something they like and then the marketplace in the secondary market ends up going underlisted. And then you have another account here, another biased account, Veve fans, saying absolutely no. Making it collectibles extremely scarce during the bear market makes absolutely no sense. So the majority of people in this poll, from a highly biased account, says that it is not a failure to sell at a drop. And we agree. And you can see that we voted no. You don't have to sell at a drop for it to be considered a success. Just having a drop with proper IP is in and of itself, getting that IP on board, having that option for people to find it in a way that, in many ways, that is a success. And if they don't sell out, maybe it's because they went high mints. Maybe because the price was too high. It doesn't mean that necessarily it will be not successful. Okay, so we agreed with this. And before I move on to the next, the next chat here, I want you guys just to jump in What are your opinions that if drops don't sell out instantly or they go below retail, should we call it a failure?
No, like I said this before too. Like if you really want to drop, you know, and you want to buy it and you want to collect it, does it really matter what the value is? But sure, it does hurt when you buy something for 60 gems and then you could buy it, you know, for 40 gems before. So yeah, that does affect you emotionally for sure, because you're like, dang, I wish I waited and I bought it for cheaper so I could. But at the end of the day, yeah, like are we looking at it as like, is there like a certain threshold that you want the company to make? You know what I mean? Are you like looking at how much the company made and then you're going to consider it being a failure for the company, or is it a failure for you? And if you want to collect, and this is something you like, and you really truly like this group, then you should be happy collecting it, right? But yeah, it just doesn't, it's not, people don't like seeing their collectibles go down in value, because I guess for the most part, right now in this space, people, yeah, are flipping, right? People like to flip. They want to, you know, they want to flip and they want to make gems and they want to keep on going. So in regards to a flipping aspect, sure, it's a failure for a flipping aspect, but for a collecting aspect, it's not a failure.
No, I mean, I'm the one who voted here. I put no. It's not a failure. David Yu's been on the record saying he wants stuff on the shelves. He wants people, when they do come to the app, to have options. At the same time, they sometimes burn those options, so it's hit or miss. I don't know how they make the decisions of when they burn and when they don't. I think if it would be a little bit more consistent, people understood the mechanic, maybe a little bit less concerning. But again, like I think that people they're gonna buy what they like, and there's people like Azza. You can see Azza down there. He loves Veve, but at the same time, he's very consistent with his opinion, and we're gonna see that over the course of this video. Here he says there's reasons why things don't sell out. He gets it. He really loves Veve. He buys stuff because I think Azza might be maybe the only person that I know that just buys stuff because he wants to buy stuff. Like I don't think he cares about the flip. I don't think he cares about that. He literally loves the IP. Blackpink, super fanboying about it, and really excited for the drop. And even with all the negative sentiment, still was happy to have his thing. So I think that there's people like that, and I think that that's the type of person that Veve wants onboarding, people who just want to buy things to enjoy what they could do with them on Veve. And I think they don't want the people who kind of want to flip around and make money off of these things, even though they have the marketplace access and kind of is like their biggest utility on the app. They don't want that to be their biggest utility on the app. They want the biggest utility to be collecting, playing around in the showroom. Maybe when Veveverse comes, that'll be more prominent. But right now, it's hard to make that distinguish the two, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we move on here, this is a week later. Dear Veve, I'm sorry, but as a devout collector, I mean, he claims to be a collector, although Veve Values is his name. So I'm sure he cares a lot about the value of it. But I'm sorry, but as a devout collector and avid fan of over 3 years, I must admit you need to make a major shift. The most popular girl band in the world and everything immediately under retail does not work for this ecosystem. We can guarantee that all BP drops will go under, and that means many more will sit out. You cannot expect this type of drop volume to be supported by your current user base. I'm sure you believe that marketing will begin to attract more users, and I do too. But if you don't make this shift now, you will lose your current ones. That you cannot afford. We cannot afford for you. Talk about somebody who has big bags that are relying desperately on Veve to pull through, right? Something must give. Less drops, Veveverse, utility, interoperability, OMI to NFT. I mean, he's basically asking for what we're seeing on other platforms right now. But Veve has always been direct from day one that they are a collector's app. They are here. They're a collector's app at generating these digital collectibles, and people were buying them. Reese told us on an AMA in August of 2022, assume what you are buying is the best that we are going to be able to offer you at the time. There's no guarantee they're going to go back and change them. There's no guarantee of gamification, no guarantee of any of this stuff. And we haven't even seen the Veveverse. It's been almost, it was November 2022. It's almost been a year and a half, and we haven't seen it. We know there's beta testers out there. We still haven't seen it. So you get the contradiction here, right? Because of the whole flipping aspect of this. This drop was not a flipper's dream. Those who did maybe make 2x actually only made 30 gems. So it's a very low amount on the flip that people were able to make. And I think that this is causing big problems for now the core Veve user base, and now demanding after the Blackpink drop, after hyping it up like crazy and not performing like they thought it would because of the hype that was self-induced and self-created within that community. they are now asking for changes. And by the way, we totally agree. Utility is so important. With utility, you can have so many great things. You can actually bring in new users. You can bring in growth. And these people who are just, some people call them normies, right? They are not interested in just necessarily collecting. They are interested in what can I do with what I collect. And that's the beauty of the digital space. Bones, why don't you jump in?
It's a tough one because, yeah, when you look at people that are not in the space, all they think about is NFTs and can it make me money? They don't know about, blockchain and what the technology can do. All they know is that they're going to buy something and they're going to make money from it. So, yeah, when you see something like a drop like this that goes under retail, yeah, it looks bad for, the new users because in their head, that's all NFTs are. Right? They're a scam, or I'm going to get into it. I'm going to make money. They don't really understand the underlying technology behind it and what it can do. So it's a tough one for, for outsiders, for, I guess, the normies to get into the space when they see drops like this. But I understand. I think I am all about collecting, and I am all about, and of course, we all want to make money sometimes. But yeah, it's tough if you just want to go, oh, I want to collect this drop, and you're brand new in the space, and then you see what the retail was and it's lower now. So yeah, it is rough. Yeah. Joe.
No, I mean, I don't agree here. I think that we've been at the beginning, maybe not guided in the right direction. People thought about this space and this platform in one way. People onboarded because they knew I'm going to buy this. It's going to go up 3x and then I'm going to sell it. Like that's what it was. That's what a lot of people who are still here are hoping comes back. What people who are hoping comes back aren't understanding is that's not what Veve wants to come back. They've done things to make sure that doesn't come back. They've gotten rid of off-app gems. They've gotten rid of bots. They've gotten rid of credit card frauds. They've done all these things to limit the amount of money coming into the app. They've also made it so that liquidity in the gem pool gets pulled out. Like first of all, you have to have 500 gems to cash out. There's all these different things that are enforced to make this a collector's app. They're trying to make it so that you don't care about the flip. David Hughes come out and said directly he does not want to leave money on the table for licensors. It's a bad look to the licensors. He also comes out and says he doesn't want you to win something and then sell it for 30x the next day. You guys are just not listening. Like this is blatant not listening. This is not what they want. They want you to collect it because you love it. And if you're not listening to what they're telling you, that's on you. That's a you problem. All right. Because Veve has been very transparent since they've changed their branding. And that's controversial in itself, that they changed their branding and they changed their entire roadmap. They've changed whatever they want to do. And that's where we had issue. And that's where we've made different videos and countless videos talking about how we feel like things could be better. But that's not this conversation. This conversation is talking about where we are today. This drop came out after all of these changes. This drop came out after the Collectors at Heart branding. You need to understand that is what they want you to do. They want you to collect. They don't want you to flip. They don't want you to make money. They don't want to leave any money on the table. So expecting anything more than that, it's on you.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said there, Joe. They have been very direct that this is a collector's app. This is not an investors at heart. Even though the people here are investors at heart, this is not an investors at heart app. It's a collectors at heart app. And utility, we're big backers of utility. We think utilities are everything when it comes to NFTs. And the only thing you can do is if a project's not offering utility, what are you to do? In the end, you have no choice. I've been talking about this with the Back Cowl fam as well, right? You guys are unhappy with what they did, and really all they did was broker a deal, right? The only thing you're going to be able to do is talk with your wallet. That's it. If these drops, it doesn't have to sell to be a success. If they sell enough that they maybe made 200 grand that drop, is that a failure? I would say not. Sounds pretty good revenue to me. Just because you can't flip it and you have to now sell it for half price to recover your funds, Veve, the company, doesn't care. It probably cost them, who knows, at $5,000 to make it. I don't know. There's 4 here. Maybe that cost them $20,000. And I'm guessing, I think that's too much. You could probably get this done for maybe cheaper, but let's just say it's $5,000 a collectible to create it. It's not animated. It's a massive success for Veve. They're making money. They don't care. But you as the user, if you're going to just keep buying over and over and over again, when they've already told you that their utility, this is the roadmap, even though it's not laid out anywhere, they're going to have an MCP program. They're going to allow you to use Omi to get you more MCP. They hope to have a Veveverse, which will essentially be a glorified showroom based on what I've gathered. And that's not really what they said at DCon. They had a gamification aspect to it, but it was never described what that was. But the more we hear about it, the more it seems like it's mainly going to be kind of a home space showroom. And then people are releasing these videos of them making stuff with it, right? So if you continue to go for flips and you're disappointed that they don't have utility, they don't have interoperability, Veve said it was impossible. Veve said the licensors, they hope that one day they'll be on board, but Veve did say that the licensors are not interested in interoperability. The Veveverse hopefully will be utility that's actually attractive to people to keep them on the app, but that remains to be seen. I mean, you know, less drops. Like, this is their core business. Veve's not taking that approach. They've said that they want to be like a Walmart, Amazon. They want to hit and hammer the community with as many drops as they can output. That is their core business. They are here to put out drops and you buy. And what you buy, you should assume is the best you're going to get. And that's it. And this is why I agree with you, Joe. If you continue to think opposite of this and you continue to buy, like, it's one thing to go on Twitter and talk about it, but if you're still buying and your wallet's doing the talking that you're buying, then you're basically agreeing that you're okay with the way things are going. So you can't be putting out posts like this if you're buying. If you bought Blackpink, you shouldn't be putting out posts like this because you just went for the flip when you've been told a million times that you probably shouldn't. I don't know, Bones, want to jump in here?
Yeah, you know, I agree. It's a collectors at heart app. You know, you have to, yeah, right now the only utility is the AR, you know, and if you like the AR, and is you have the statue. So yeah, it's I personally, like, I didn't think that there was going to be enough people coming into the space for this drop. I did go for the UR though. I actually did go and I put in a little bit of MCP points, just like the minimal amount, just to try it out. And I probably would have bought it anyways, just because I wanted to get it. But yeah, it's I don't expect much. Like, I don't assume utility anymore with Veve, that things are going to be gamified. I just expect that I'm collecting what I'm collecting. And if you enjoy what you're collecting, and maybe in the future, when we have more users, then these items like this one, this very popular group, will be worth something if that's what you're into. But right now, yeah, you have to just collect what you collect and don't worry about flipping on this app, because it seems like right now it's not a flipper's game. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another reason why we push utility so hard in this space. Like, people are like, oh, we don't need utility. You don't need utility. Will span both collectors app and investor app. So you're going to start to satisfy a lot more people that are on your app. Collectors would love utility. They would hold things to use that utility, so that you're collecting to do whatever you need to do with them. And then same thing when it comes to investors, because values technically would go up if more people are holding or more people are collecting, starting to satisfy both of your user base. But until this point, it seems as though they're targeted on the half of the user base that is excited and enjoys collecting the fandom and not the flip. And that's just basically the summary of all this. And again, it's all there. We posted our response there. We got a little bit of lip service back, whatever. It's okay. Don't go defend us over here. But at the end of the day, we stick to our morals, and we believe in utility. We believe that once we're told something and we understood it, and it was a hard reality. Like 2022, we had Reese on the channel. He told us, you're not getting more than what you see. That was a hard reality for me and Rob. Like, we got off that call, I remember, and we're like, wow, like, a lot of things changed. I think a lot of people who listened to that interview understood that things changed that day. And we have acted based off of that. Like, we buy something if we like it. If we don't like, we don't buy it. And that's how I feel like maybe most people should participate, because speculation is a killer. And I mean, with the speculation and it doesn't turn out the way you expect it, then you're the only one to blame. I said it before, I say it again.
Yeah, like those Marvel Mighties, right? We go back to those Marvel Mighties. Like, everyone bought them on assuming and speculating that there's gonna be gamification. And then once, you know, we found out that, you know, like you said, what we have was what we have, and that's what it's going to be, then yeah, it decreased in value, because the value was there on speculation that it was going to be gamification, right? And we found out that they're not actually rigged and they're not game ready. So yeah,
there's been a lot of misleading statements on that regard too, though, like protecting the Mighties at all costs and all of these things. True. Like these things, they got to tone down too. They got to figure out ways to do that. Like, even leading up to this Blackpink drop, David Hughes in Space is telling people you got a 1.6 billion view song as part of this drop, and no word of it yet. So maybe it's still coming. We don't know if the drops aren't done, but people are confused.
Remember that last Star Wars drop? What's that vehicle called? That I forget what it's called.
Looks like a garbage truck.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
right.
Sand. It's like the sand thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure David, you said something. He said something about that drop too as well. And I'm speculating that, with the whole Veve verse, and remember with the whole tower, how they said you can go inside the tower. We all hope that when the Veve verse comes out, because you can open that thing, the actual thing comes down, you can kind of look inside it. That when the Veve verse comes out, these are going to be actually environments, right? So that's what the speculation is, that we can go inside them, we can place our collectibles in them, most likely. So yeah, that's what people are speculating right now. So who knows what the future holds? But again, you cannot buy on speculation like that.
This is the thing that confuses me, though. They said once that they must come outright and tell you any utility that anything will have when they do the drop. So I think that what they've created, probably if they made it with an interior texture, we know Blender now, right? If they made it with interior texture, you can go through it and you could create a little room in it. I can see that. And I don't think that's an unreasonable amount of that's fair. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's utility in the sense that it's going to really bring in people that are actually going to want to use it for that reason. But you could create an environment if you go into the collectible and you see people, sometimes the Vaultaholics, zooming super close into the golden moments at different angles, and you can kind of go inside and see stuff. But yeah, I think that I'm not really sure why the Veveverse, since you brought the topic up, is this big of a secret. It's been so long now, and there's very little discussion about it. There's very little sneak peeks. There's not even a timeline. It's almost like it's so far away they don't want to give a timeline. So I just don't know about the speculation with the Veveverse and how much added value will actually come to our collectibles when a Veveverse exists. I'm just not sure that the Veveverse is going to bring the added value to these collectibles. Maybe as AI improves, maybe you'd be able to auto rig some of these collectibles. Maybe in the Veveverse, because it's a different environment than the Veve app. Because at the end of the day, we own the token. We don't own anything else but the token. Maybe in a Veveverse environment, AI can be helpful to start rigging these things and animating them on the spot. I don't know how janky it's going to be. But again, this is all wishful thinking. This is all speculation, and speculation can really get you burned if you're buying based on that. So
on that point, I mean, Veveverse, the one thing I don't buy, and I know it's been the reason why everyone's saying, no, this is why you can't see any of the Veveverse is because the licensors, they don't want you to see something that might not be how it's supposed to be represented. I mean, you got Veve stuff. You got Veve logos. You got Veve ecomi logos now. Show us the Veveverse with some of that stuff. Show us some new and exciting things that you developed over the last year since we've seen Tales from the Rizzo's video showing a nice display of his Batman Gotham City. Maybe there's new things that you've done in that year. I mean, you would hope that some things have been upgraded since then, and maybe a little sneak peek here and there keeps your user base engaged, because right now you go on Twitter or on X, it's a war zone. So why not start to bring back some I don't know if it's speculation is the word, but bring back some excitement, because there's no roadmap for people to look at to get excited about. People who came in from Blackpink, they're like, okay, I have this now. What? They want to know, where's this going? We want to know where this is going. We've been here for 2 years. So hopefully we start to hear a little bit more on that. My collectible is just getting acclimated there. So hopefully he's bringing this to the boardrooms and talking about how to get that message across to the people, because it's starting, especially if this drops over the week, does worse and worse and worse. I think you're going to see a lot more of these types of posts.
Yeah, it's very interesting that, the Veveverse, it's like there was so much hype about it, and it's just been dead. There's been no talk about it over the past little bit at all. So it's very interesting. I want more. I want to see the Veveverse. I want to see some, the beta testers talk about it again, maybe show some sneak peeks, because for me, I'm pretty simple in regards to finding utility in things of I like The Sims, playing game Sims. So I like decorating stuff. So if it's a glorified showroom, sure. But I know we want more than that. But it's something more, something special. Just like at Decon when we had that other showroom, where's that? That looked like it was pretty, well developed in regards to what it was. So how come that hasn't been released? Just that thing. So hopefully soon we'll start to hear, because it's been pretty dead on that front with the Veveverse, and that's that's like one of the main things that I think that's going to drive utility for this space. Maybe they had to kind of backtrack and kind of like look at it to maybe reconsider what they want to do with it or adjust it. But yeah, I'm very shocked that there's no pictures or videos or talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? In some ways, like, you know, Veve with their early success, it kind of worked against them because they made a lot of, they have a lot of baggage now, right? They made a lot of promises. They said a lot of things. They didn't quite kill speculation when it came up. They just kind of stayed quiet. They didn't say yes. They didn't say no. So you can't fault them because they never said yes for some things. But then, you know, we now found out that it probably will never come to fruition. But when it comes down to it, I think this is the line right here that is the crux of the problem. We cannot afford for you. And I think the point of that is that there's enough people here with a lot riding on Veve's success that you're going to have this kind of toxic environment on Twitter with people going back and forth. And now it's really a lot of like, what can they do? Blackpink was supposed to be this mass, you know, new user, you know, from Asia. Everybody's gonna be coming in, and you're gonna get a bunch of the Koreans weren't up yet. It was 3 a.m. and they're not here yet. But it's not translating into the marketplace. I think in the end, I still think that every drop Veve sells, they're making money. I think that they're successful. I think they're happy making sales the way that they do. I just think the users, if you're expecting more than what you're buying, it's just a dangerous game that you're playing with yourself. You know, you can't do that. You have to just buy because you're a collector at heart, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
It's very interesting. I think it's curious to see the overhead of every drop. Wouldn't it be interesting to figure out or to know how much it like would cost a company to make certain drops like this?
Good
you know,
question.
to get the deal together in this amount of time, and then to develop the collectibles, what kind of team it takes, if it's just like one person behind a computer, or you know what I mean? And to see how much money, because let's be realistic here, they made a good amount of money, even though the drop didn't sell out and, you know, it's below retail, they made a good amount of money for what it is. You know, I could be crazy. I don't know what goes into getting these licenses and getting this drop all together. But yeah, like it seems like they made a good amount of money. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah, we don't know we can only speculate on how much these licensing fees cost. We know they have to pay money. For example, with Disney, they got to pay money in order to get them on the app. And there is a respect from Disney saying, we're going to actually allow you to do it. They don't just give it to anybody. They make sure they vet, and they only give it to people that they think they can actually do justice. So you got to give Veve credit that they were able to secure that IP. David, you clearly is highly skilled at bringing on IP. This is why Veve has so much IP. He's doing exactly what he loves to do. Leverage what he's really strong at, which is bringing in IP and getting them on the app. And that's why you see so many drops, you see so many IP. But they're not a gaming company. They're not a company that I think built this from day one with the intention to ever be anything more than just a digital marketplace. And David said it himself in his interview with Meta Mona. Every day is a bull market at Veve. That was his response. Every day is a bull market at Veve, because from a company perspective, they're doing just fine. But if you're buying, all these guys that are buying, hoping for price appreciation, you're just playing a dangerous game. Do what you want, it's your money. But then you're going to go put posts out like that. Just you know, it tells me that you're maybe not thinking clearly about what Veve wants to be and what they want to build. And by me saying this, by the way, I'm not saying that Veve won't have success in the future. I'm not saying that collectibles may never have appreciation in the future. It could happen. Veve could come up with utility. They could come up with creative ways that we haven't seen yet, but we don't have a roadmap to be confident. So it's a little bit more of a risk, I guess, saying, okay, well, I think they might be able to pull off some kind of utility in the future, maybe some renting, but why are you renting it? For what? To just do an AR projection, or for more reasons? Sorry, go ahead.
This drop here, I think it brings up the question, and I think a lot of people, you guys can chime in below. Am I crazy? Am I not? But does this drop not give you the vibes like, if they get Pokemon, is it going to do as what we thought it's going to do? Like, is it going to do what we thought it was going to do? If Blackpink, the diehards here, aren't interested, are the Poke fam going to be interested in digital collectibles that you can look at on your phone? I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious. Like, I want to know, is that enough?
One constructive criticism about this drop, which people have talked about, was to onboard new users, this drop was too complicated, right? You needed like one collectible of each one. There was a huge article with all these collectibles and all this crafting and this next collectible. It was a lot. It was pretty confusing for like, even for us, and we're like used to this kind of thing. But for a new user, I would look at that and be like, I'm already kind of iffy about this space. It's too much. I think we need to simplify it. If it's going to be one that wants to bring in the so-called masses, it'll be something simplified. Personally, right now, I think big drops like Pokemon won't have the effect we think it will. It won't. I honestly, right now, I do not think it will.
Bones, and Joe, I think it's an interesting topic. I think we have to do another video topic for that.
I want to hear the comments. Because this was something for 2 years that you bring in Pokemon space is blowing up. Now we waited this long. If you did have the Pokemon license in your back pocket for the last 2 years and you waited till now, are you dropping it? Like, what do we do here?
I think that the existing user base with Pokemon will sell. They will buy it. Like, the people who are here right now will go crazy for it. Will it bring in new users? I think, again, even if it's a Pokemon NFT, I don't know if the Poke fam are that interested. They're used to games. They're used to Pokemon Go. They can walk around. They can spin the Pokestops. They can fight.
You can look at them in AR on Pokemon Go. You're right. I collect them sometimes. I look at them in my AR, feed them berries.
You can feed them some berries, right? But the thing is, the AR is just one aspect of it. There's more. It's a game. It's a game that you're supposed to collect them all, and it's fun, right? People have fun collecting them all. And maybe the same argument could be made for Veve, but it's just a little bit different. It's geo-referenced. Maybe if Veve had geo-referencing, and I know that technology exists. We're in 2024, and I know it's there. Remember the original vision of Veve, that I can buy the piece of art, I can put it on my white wall, people can walk into my house with glasses and they can see that in the same spot, no matter who comes on, and it's memorized that in that digital space I've added that collectible. I think when this kind of technology becomes more widespread, maybe then there's a chance, but this is a long ways ahead. And then there's the whole discussion, do you really need an NFT for this? Or with people who are offering free versions, will people just take the free one instead of the ownership one? It has to do maybe more if it's just supposed to be a statue. People will pay for games because they can't get a free game that's as fun, right? Maybe they can, but not always, right? And then once, like, look at Fortnite. It was a free game. People got it. They got addicted, and they started spending money on the skins. So there's different strategies. I just think that right now, this whole discussion about, do drops have to sell out? No, they don't. It's still a success if it doesn't. But at the same time, know what you're buying and don't give fake expectations and fake hype. Don't buy into the hype.
Yeah. And like I was going to mention, I'm sure you guys mentioned this before, like with the Vision Pro and with Oculus, like we were so hyped about it, but was it a detriment to the space when people see that, you can have like Iron Man and all these amazing collectibles for free and in AR, and as someone would say, why would you want to buy that? Why do I want to spend money and buy it? And then you can come back and say, because you can own it and sell it, right? That's like the number one thing right now. Like, you can say, own it, and then you can sell it.
Where's the value? Right? What's the value? Exactly, what are you selling it for? If there's a free one, your value is the same.
And that comes back to utility, right? It always comes back to utility.
It's the utility connoisseur channel over here. So that's exactly it. No, that's all I got. I got nothing else, Rob.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, we always want to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this? Sometimes we find that we have widespread opinion. Not everybody agrees with this. We know there's a bunch of you who do not believe in utility. That's fine. You can let us know and remind us again why you don't believe in utility. We still welcome your comments. Let us know in the comments below. But before you go, if you haven't already, don't forget, become a superstar, smash the subscribe button, enjoy the super fam, hit the notification button, see it every single video, every single day. We do not miss. We're here for you every single day. Also to our VIPs, $2.99 a month, Star Wars Master Spreadsheet giveaways, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. See you next one.
Love you.
Bye.